This video is sponsored by my favorite website creator, Squarespace, the best place to go when you want to get a domain or create a gorgeous website or an online store. So we've rented this flat in London for 2.5 years now, and we're starting to feel like it's time to get a new place, a place that we actually own, don't we, babe?
Yes, because we've lived in about 13 places in the last 15 years together. Some for no longer than like 4 to 5 weeks when trying to find something more permanent.
I think like the longest we've ever stayed in a single place was 3 years. And that was our very first flat back in small town Sweden. The memories. We lived in standard 2-bedroom flats in Sweden. We shared a 12 square meter room with rats and mice and cockroaches in Soho for 1.5 years. We've been in a borrowed summer cottage without running water in the middle of the Swedish forest, and now we're here back in this gorgeous 2-bedroom flat back in London again. And this is by far our most favorite out of all the places.
Yes, and during this time we've kind of grown up, as has our finances, which are more stable than before when we were students or working in supermarkets or as bartenders or selling vintage clothes online or trying to start a business as YouTubers.
So we think it's time to step things up and actually buy something in London where we can stay for a longer period of time. Because one thing we know for damn certain by now, London is home. We're not sure how you guys feel about it. Are you interested in hearing more about our search for places to live and deciding what type of home we want to get? It will be super fun to bring you guys along, and we want to look around a lot because we actually haven't decided yet if we want to get a flat in London or get a bigger place, maybe even a proper house, a short train ride outside of London. Basically, we want to investigate the market and see what's out there.
So for those of you who are interested in our search for a future home, or who just like looking at gorgeous places in general, we have started a second channel. We have a couple of videos over on that channel already, just a few places we've looked at to get an initial feel for what's out there. So go on over and take a look.
First of all, what have we liked about living in this flat? Well, it's a good size 2-bed at 85 square meter or 915 square feet, and the house is built sometime in the early 1800s in that beautiful Georgian style, you know, white building with black picket fence. We're in a gorgeous neighborhood in general with shops, cafes, restaurants and good links to central London. The first thing you notice when you get in are the huge ass windows in the living room, and listen to this, they're overlooking a goddamn park. A tiny little mini-sized park, yes, but still it means there are no neighbors looking in. You can watch your Netflix stark naked if you want. Not that we usually do, but you know, it's nice to have the option. We also have the same size windows in the bedroom and in the office.
The second thing you notice is the stunning old fireplace, which isn't a working fireplace, but just a nice decor feature now. It gives the room so much character and unusual decor possibilities. We always have fresh flowers here, and on the floor here is also where we have our pre-dinner drink moments. Jenny finds it very cozy. Another brilliant thing about this room, the sheer size of it. We have 3 sofas or day beds in here, and it's still super airy enough to bring in a desk setup without it feeling the least bit cramped. And as you know, we love placing our furniture away from the walls to give the room a breezier feel, which demands a fair bit of space to do.
Excellent thing about this flat, all walls are white. All floors are wood, no weird wallpaper or musty old carpets anywhere. We also love having an extra bedroom that we've turned into our office. We can both work in there and also record our podcast, which tends to need a good amount of space for the setup. There's tons of natural light in both bedrooms with the afternoon and evening sun coming through, which makes the office perfect to double as a dining room. There are a few things that we're not super fond of in this flat. First of all, there's the kitchen. It works fine for one person to be in there, but as soon as both of us cramp in together, we have to push each other out of the way just to open the fridge, the trash, use the water, put stuff in the dishwasher. It's like playing Tetris in there all the time. And it doesn't have any windows, so you're kind of in a bunker when you're in there. This is another reason why we want to buy our very own place, so that we can, you know, change what we want and bang out walls or whatever. Like the kitchen, for example, we would probably tear down half of the wall to make it into like a semi-open kitchen living room area if this was our place.
The next thing is just a small thing. These fixed lights in the living room, they're just not very modern, and it would have been nice to just have the whole wall clean without anything on there.
I have to admit though that I kind of like the 90s vibe of them myself, but I would never have had the idea to put them up myself. And I absolutely hate the spotlights in the ceiling. They look like tiny little warts.
What about these built-in wardrobes behind me, in the bedroom and in the office? They're a good size and all, but let's face it, they're not very attractive. There are windows on them so you can see all the clothes and stuff inside, and it would have just been nice to have clean white wardrobe doors.
Next up, storage. In Sweden, we're used to having either a basement or an attic storage space, or a small room like a walk-in closet in the flat that is just for storage. But in London, I have never seen this anywhere that we've lived, which makes sense, I guess, since London is so cramped and every developer really tries to maximize each square inch for living and not storage. So every attic or basement has been turned into flats and every storage room has been turned into another tiny bedroom. For our future home though, storage is key. It's probably our #1 pet peeve with this place, that even though we're minimalist and don't have that much stuff, we're still bursting at the seams in this flat.
Another thing we changed instantly if we owned this place, the doors. This place with its high ceilings and beautiful windows, it deserves more grand door openings. Can you imagine if this was a huge white wooden turn of the century style double door? It would just up the lux factor in here by 1000%. And since we're kind of central, there seems to always be construction outside. Either they're exchanging water pipes or putting down fiber broadband or just digging up the road for some other reason. So sometimes it's dead quiet and sometimes it's just loud for 2-3 months straight. Sometimes even on the weekends, so a quieter street would be lovely. So the main reason we want to move, even though we're super happy in this flat, it is that it's very expensive to rent in London, and we're ready to buy something and invest in ourselves instead of just paying off someone else's mortgage. We haven't decided on where to go. There are so many options: a flat in London, a house in the countryside with good connections to London, or a house in a commuter town outside the city. If we move outside of London, we can get a lot more space than we have at the moment, and we could have 2 beautiful rescue dogs that could roam the fields.
But if we do that, we're not in London anymore, and when we move back to London, we decided to move back to London, not wherever in the UK, because London is our dream city.
But if we choose something in the city, there's still the problem with space, and it's loud and messy and crowded. All things that you kind of have a love-hate relationship to when living in any type of metropolis.
So we haven't decided yet what to do. What do you guys think? What areas of London do you like? Or do you think we should move away from London? I mean, we've lived here for a combined 6.5 years so far, and we do love it. So feel free to join us on this little property adventure over on our new channel, looking at houses and flats and gorgeous places and places in desperate need of some love. It's just too much fun.
Yeah, it's become like a hobby for us, viewing flats and scouring Rightmove for old rundown manor houses in the countryside. So click somewhere up here or check the description for some links. Hope you like the idea of tagging along with us when we look at what London and other places have to offer.
See you over there, right now. Puss puss and hey då!
Hey då!
Do you want to create a beautiful site, maybe start your own self-love blog? If so, you should definitely do it with Squarespace. They have great blogging tools to share your stories, photos and videos to make it easy to reach your audience. You can also auto-post your content to Twitter, Facebook or Tumblr, and simply schedule your posts for them to be properly tagged and the descriptions and titles will show up correctly. You can of course add your social media accounts to your site so that it's easy for your readers to find you everywhere. Squarespace also have great traffic analytics so that you can see how many people are visiting your site, how long they're staying for, where they're coming from and what they're interested in, like self-love, fashion or maybe food, for example. So what are you waiting for? Go get your free trial today at squarespace.com, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/jennymustard to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or a domain. That's it. See you soon, guys. Puss puss and hej då!
The conspiracy is that Finland does not exist.
What do you, like in actual geographic sense?
So let me tell you about it. Finland doesn't exist. The nation of Finland is actually part of the Baltic Sea, and people who claim to live there are really from eastern Sweden, western Russia or northern Estonia.